The film look is something that all of us creators try to achieve. But if you're just like me, after countless tutorials and multiple sleepless nights, you're still not able to get it. Well, I might have a solution for you. Dehancer is a film emulation plugin that basically does all the work for you, basically giving you the film look. Now in this honest review, I'm gonna go over how I use Dehancer, and then we're gonna go over the pros and cons and overall if it's something you should invest in. Now I am going to be completely honest in this review because for one, I believe honesty is the best policy, and number two, when Dehancer reached out to me, they asked me to be honest. So honestly, big respect to them for that. Alright, so now let's jump into the tutorial. Now before I do begin this tutorial, one thing to note is that I am not a professional colorist. I've just learned color grading through YouTube, and honestly I've just been playing around with the settings for less than a month now, and these are basically the settings that I use. Now is it carbon copy for every clip? No, it's not. But in this scenario, we're going to be color grading this clip right here with me on the swing. So let's get into it. All right, so first things first, as for everything, we have to first put it in the right color space. For me, I shoot in Sony S-Log3, so that is what I'm going to use. Now in my camera settings, I do have my saturation boosted all the way up, so I will be lowering it down. This is something you can skip if you just have it on normal settings. Now, do I use all of these nodes? No, I don't. I usually only use about three to four, sometimes 5, and we're gonna label it now. Starting with the first node, it's going to be our exposure. Next, we're going to do our white balance, WB, and then our saturation. And then on the second of the last node is where we will be putting our Dehancer plugin. So just scroll all the way to the bottom, find your Dehancer, and drag it right there. Now, when you first select Dehancer, it'll usually turn on all the settings. I personally don't like that. So all we're gonna do is we're just gonna scroll down and disable all tools. And then for me, you can do this if you want, but I like putting the quality on high. Now we can actually begin using Dehancer. Now I usually like putting Dehancer on first, and then I'll tweak the exposure, the white balance, and then the saturation. So for the input, we already did it. We already put our color space, so we don't have to touch that. Film, now there's a lot of film looks. Let me just turn it on. As you can see, there's so much film that you can use. You can literally have your own unique look. Now, me personally, some of my videos, if you follow me on whether it's my Instagram or my TikTok, I usually use Kodak Ultramax 400 or Kodak Gold 200. But recently, I've been using the Kodak 2383 print film. If you don't know what that is, basically it's a print film. And honestly, some of your favorite movies use this film. So now we're just gonna enable print film. We're also gonna enable expand. We're also going to enable film compression, and we're also going to enable film developer. Now, when it comes to the Kodak print, I like turning up the color density. Then I like going into the film compression, and then I'll just change the tonal range. And as you can see, it brings down our whites. So yeah, I'll just tweak that until it looks good. Right about there is fine. Now, and then we're just going to go into film developer and just add a slight color boost. Nice, perfect. Okay, now that we have Dehancer, and then that's when we're going to change our exposure, white balance, and change our saturation. So we're gonna then go to exposure, and I want it just a little bit darker. Drag my shadows down just a little bit, and honestly that's looking good to me. And then we're gonna go to white balance. Now honestly, we're gonna add just a little bit more warmth, and we're gonna add just a little bit of green. Nice, that's looking good to me. And then comes our saturation. I personally like using the color slice tool. I feel like using the color slice tool gives me more flexibility when I want to saturate or desaturate certain colors. So let's turn up the yellow. As you can see, it's mostly affecting the ground and our highlighted portions. So we're going to turn that up just a little bit. And then we're also going to turn up our cyan just so we get a nice tone separation. And we're going to slowly turn up our blues. Nice, perfect. So basically, if we turn off our Dehancer, this is what we're left with. Pretty bland, as you can see. And then with Dehancer on, gives it a full 180. Honestly, this looks really nice right off the bat. I'm pretty much happy with this. Now, as I said earlier in the tutorial, this is basically just a template I use. Am I using the same settings for every video? No, I'm not. Okay, now let's go back to Dehancer. Now we changed our expand and we changed our print. Now in Dehancer, you also have access to grain, halation, and bloom. Now for me personally, I don't use grain. Sometimes I do if I really want my videos to look like film. I'll put on just a little bit of grain. For halation, I do turn on halation and I do lower that down just a little bit, just so where it's barely noticeable. Now for bloom, all this does is basically gives you a soft glow. So if I were to turn this up, as you can see, you see the soft glow, put it to about 50. So before, after, before, after. Now this is film damage. Now all this does is just put a bunch of specks on your screen. If you're into that, I don't, so I'm gonna just turn that off. And usually I don't touch film breath. Now for gate weave, I usually don't have this on. And then we have overscan. Now this one gives you that vintage look now. Now, of course you can tweak it if you want. There's a bunch of different settings that you can choose from. But for me, I don't use it. And then you have your vignette. I usually don't touch any of these. And yeah, that's usually how I color grade my clips. All right, now let's talk about the pros. Obviously, it's going to be all of the film stocks it has. If you're looking to really dial in that film look and you're wondering which one to choose from, there's a lot in here that you can really tweak around with and play around with until you get your unique look. Another big thing is that it has the Kodak 2383 film print. That's what I've been using for most of my color grading recently, maybe in the past like week or two. And honestly, it saved me a bunch of time. I used to spend hours in color grading. Now, if I were to color grade, it takes me about 10 times faster, and I'm not even joking with that. Another pro is that the textures, you can have a lot of control with that, whether that's the grain, the bloom, the halation. Honestly, you have a lot of control over that. And also, if you do decide to get Dehancer, you also have access to the iOS app. And honestly, if you're someone who does a lot of iPhone photography and you want to try and emulate the film look without buying a film camera, then honestly the app does wonders. Not only does it have all the film profiles, but it also has presets. It can take your pictures from looking like this to something like this. Now for cons, let's talk about it because there are some cons. One of the biggest cons I have is that honestly it could be useless for you. Now if you want the film look, Dehancer is probably perfect for you. But if you shoot commercials or you just shoot videos that look clean, then this is completely useless for you. The next con I have is that it is a bit pricey. Now for Dehancer Pro, there is a monthly, annual, and a lifetime subscription. Now if you're just looking for Dehancer Pro, it's going to be $60 a month, or you can get billed annually for $300, or you can just get the lifetime for $600. Now for me personally, I would get the yearly. Another big con I have is that if you're a beginner, probably shouldn't use Dehancer just because there's a lot of tools, there's a lot of sliders, and you could feel intimidated. To this point, I still feel pretty intimidated of what I'm doing, but I do understand it enough to play around with it. And now for my final verdict. Should you or should you not get Dehancer Pro? Now, if you've been making videos for a while and you're looking to upgrade your color grading and really get your unique look so you don't look like anybody out there, I do recommend Dehancer. Now, I'll personally get the yearly plan for $300 because $60 a month is crazy. And honestly, I feel like using Dehancer for a year, try it out, test out all the features you can, is enough time to really make a decision if you want it or not. Now, if you're a total beginner, I don't recommend it just because it is a pretty big investment, especially if you're new, because you might make a decision that you might not even want to do content creation anymore, and you're just gonna spend $60, $300, $600 on a software that you don't use. So if you're a beginner, I just recommend learning color grading on your own and hold off for it. But if you were to ask me personally, I do recommend it 10 times over. If you can afford it and you're really serious about making videos and color grading, this is for you. Now, if you do plan to buy Dehancer, please use code Maddie for 10% off. Not only are you helping yourself out by saving money, you are also helping out your boy. So yes, thank you to everybody who has made it this far, and thank you for watching this honest review, and see you next time. Peace.